Yeah, but you don't have any more boxes?
I'm putting a new one up this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
I have 20 boxes of sorghum in my house that are leaving today.
Okay. Yes, there's one thing, like, all of a sudden there's a big hole there. What happened? A good night of Shabbos, everyone. Okay. The Rosh Yeshiva got based a lot of his chinuch on the first posuk here. Atem tzov ma'ayim kulchem v'nei Hashem l'keichem, v'sheichem shivteichem, v'zikneichem sheitreichem. So Rashi says you should have v'sheichem l'shivteichem. But it doesn't say v'sheichem shivteichem, there's v'sheichem shivteichem. So the Yeshiva learned pshat, v'sheichem come from shivteichem. In other words, it's not, there's no such thing as L'Sheichem. The L'Sheichem comes from the Shiftechem. Everybody can become a Godel. And he used to tell you that the difference between a person that can become a Godel or not is the difference if he's a balanced person or not. He says he had sometimes Elisha people that had a fantastic memory. And you have others that have a very fast tfisa. And they didn't become gedolim. He said very few Elohim became gedolim. I don't know where he got it from. I can't answer those things. I don't know. But that's what he told me. And he says, why they call everybody an Ehloi? I guess that they call them those yeshiva bachums. Everybody was an Ehloi. Whoever came to yeshiva was an Ehloi. You know, but basically, that's the problem. Why won't he shlagos? So he said because they can't chaza. And I'm thinking about it. You see, you can understand somebody, but he knows the words, all the words, right? It's very shvar chaza. What am I getting new? A new understanding. The basic comes first, you know. So you can't really chaza. The guy only understands he has a tfisa. As soon as he looks at it, he understands it. He can't chaza either because he has to memorize it. And he can't do that because I know it already. So he said, who's a godel? Someone who's balanced. It takes him 5 times to remember it. It takes him 5 times to understand it. So he keeps chaseling it. So he got to the point and he understands it. And obviously, whoever needs less, obviously he'll be a bigger godel than the other one. I mean, there are people that even one time you can remember it and can chap it. But we were godel, but I'm saying, but to be a godel be Yisrael. And therefore everybody, normal kishrin, he always had the potential to be a godel be Yisrael. Because he's balanced. So he can go up to be whoever he is. You may have to learn more, you may have to do that. That depends already on the nations and circumstances of life. I mean, there's a guy, the Elisha guy, never got a chance to learn past. I mean, the guy who's the fantastic praise and stuff. The 20 had to leave yeshiva. And the guy who was a mediocre brain is there for he's 60 years old and still in yeshiva. So what's the difference, you know? All of us, that's the Beni Shalom gave him things there. But each one can be a godel, though. That's what he said. He said, so you see that there was a Gerim before, that, you know, was like they did to the Kivonim, that they made Chaytev Shevim Menecha. So they had like that before.
What Rebbe says about becoming a gadol, does Rebbe mean to be a leader of Klal Yisrael, machmas their gadlus, or just to have a klorklite in the Torah? Like
no, to even be a leader of the thing. His leadership comes because of gadlus. Not everybody's the same genius, I mean, whatever it is there. And there were people that became poskim, or whatever you call it, b'seif yimeim. In other words, when they were old people already, not necessarily when they were young, but something like that. That already, a lot of the times, the circumstances. Where does God put you, in a situation, and what kind of tevye you have? Do you chap, or you're patient, or whatever it is? There are different types of people. Yeah. Okay, listen. Okay, then he tells that the brachas that he gave, that means teichach, is forever. And we're all tied to it. And we spoke about last week about the different things that you're chayav for, and maybe it's even what you don't know enough of. I can tell you over added to a point that we said last week, maybe. We were talking about last week what was the Onish, the first level of Onishim in the Teichach, was because you don't bekayim all the mitzvahs. You don't learn all the mitzvahs. So we said not learning all the mitzvahs is not a chesaron in the klola. It's just a question how much bracha you get. There's kol mitzvah gets more bracha than mitzvah. But I do all the mitzvahs. I do all the mitzvahs. So then what does the teichach mean? The teichach means we don't learn enough to know all the mitzvahs. Okay, so that was what we wanted to learn. So therefore, criticism on a method of learning. There happens to be, the Gemara. There's a goyin, but the Gemara that says over there that if Yisum come on a person, so he says you should be fashbish b'maisiv. He's b'fishbish loy masas, it's all to be bittul teichah, right? So bittul teichah is the chosar naver, whatever those are the kashas you ask, they accept that we don't know how to figure it out, whatever, that you have thoughts of. The guy says the different teichahs. He says totally bittul teichah means you didn't learn that it's osa. That's why you did it. No, not because it's bittul teichah and the avera bittul teichah. You did the avera because you never learned there's such a law. So therefore that's called an avera. That's not called what do you call? Yeah. Yeah. Then it tells you about, let's say, all the practical things of life. This is really negated to us in Golus Befrat. We see everything. We saw, he's talking about you were passed through the nations. They didn't see anything by passing through the nations. Only when they wiped out, the only people they ever saw was Mitzrayim, and when they wiped out Moav. Whatever it is, that's about all they ever saw. They never saw people in the Midbar. The Midbar didn't see him, they didn't see them. So it doesn't make a difference. We have no shaykhs to the people in the Midbar. So, but he said that you saw it, and then you think about it, right? And then he talks about Shorish Pei Rosh Velano, those are the Averis. And then it goes in, B'hoya b'shoma yitliva ha'teira hazayis al heli l'teicheche, v'izbach b'vav v'lei m'sholem yeli ki b'shivas l'diyah. I'm going to have peace because I'm going to do what I want. So the Shiva is, I'm going to be pretty stupid. I mean, what do you mean you're going to have peace because you do what you want? The whole idea of the Techer tells you can't do what you want. So how are you going to say that? He's not going to say that. So he spoke about the Indian of I'll be more practical. They talk about conservatism, reform, those type of things where you have people that think they can improve on God's Seder. But in Emerson, this is a very common thing that we have. We have it, where do we have it? men and women, right? I may be prejudiced in this sense, but you remember the Equal Rights Amendment, if anyone remembers that, ERA. So the Equals after everybody was for it, the Frat Younger Lights, was that women should get paid like men. Why not? They have to hold out a family, so why shouldn't they get paid like men, right? Especially if you're young of mine, like my wife will get paid man. Sure, you can wear base medicines. For sure, I'm for liberalism, right? But we have women kohelim in the world. Why do you have women kohelim? Because a woman, why should she not learn? Now, I'm not saying women shouldn't learn. The Vayra Neviah knew everything, and she knew more than the men, no question about it. And she shofet this is Yisrael. I can thought the woman can have a big memory, can have a big tifkeit. Fine, I'm not against that. But women are women and men are men. Meaning a woman has to take care of the kids. The Torah parted them from Mitzvah Shazman Gorman. For a reason, not because they're less than a man. They have different achayis, and they can't be mechayiv themselves. And I learned this in the family. It doesn't make a difference. Someone was davening Rosh Hashanah, and a 2-year-old kid was pulling her dress. Needed attention. And this is what drove it home to me, what that kid said. So he was pulling the dress. At the end of the davening, when the mother finished davening, Rosh Hashanah davening, she apologized to her daughter that I know you needed me, but I was in the middle of davening, I couldn't interrupt. And the kid, a 2-year-old kid, told the mother, God made you a mommy, and I needed a mommy, and you weren't there. Everything happened. So I learned, God's way you potter. So now I know where you potter. It's not put down. That's what your job is. And your job is you can't go in there. And we have different mitzvahs than Kehanim. Do we walk around with a sign saying unfair to Israel? I mean, I don't think we go into that subject. So I don't think a woman should have that inferiority. That there's nothing inferior about having less mitzvahs. It says lo yasali isha. That's because it's the amount of mitzvahs that an isha has is less than a man, and therefore there's more. You get more chusim, I guess, or whatever it is there, and get it, and the woman will get the same thing to let my husband learn. I don't know what it is. It's negated to me how God's going to do it for them, because the Gemara asked this question about noshim ma'may. So obviously there has to be an answer for it, but they are zeicha because of their husbands, and the thing is because they sacrifice for their husbands to be able to learn. That's what I would say to terrorists. So the idea is, so why is a guy who say that? Because we have modern society that feels that women are nobodies, that the mevatel woman. We're like, Freud, big deal, who's a Freud, right? So if you have such a thing, if you really believe that's what it is, then you feel insulted. If on the other hand, I don't talk that way, so why would you think anything else? Why would you be insulted like you're a woman? I don't think there's anything wrong with being a woman. I think that elevates. So the idea is that you feel you're fairer than the Torah. And therefore, what are the three averos of man's voice Horoves Hatzmeya? The three that the Gemara brings down is one of them is that the Marser Aveido Lakum. Not the I think it's called Nochi. I don't even think it's Lakum. You only have to know Dabel Zor. I think even Slamagoy. So So I said it depends why you returned it. And we've seen, you bring even Rayas, you've seen a bunch of Yeshiva Bachim returned something they found, and it made the newspapers and stuff like that, like you see the honesty of Yeshiva Bachim and stuff like that. Okay, it's very nice, but did they have to give it back or not? So I kind of, there's no question you can make a Kiddush Hashem by turning it back. But I want you to know that you're spending your money to make a Kiddush Hashem. That's fine. You spend your money to make a Kiddush Hashem, but it's your money. If I think it's easy come, easy go, it's not my money. You understand? I just found it and I'm not allowed to take it. Except the Torah is bigoted against Goyim, and therefore they let me keep it. That already is the point where you're Yeva Nisa. And the thing about, because then you think that you're fairer than the Torah. The Torah is, it tells you by Jews you have to have an Aved, Maus and Aved, by Goyim you don't have to. I said that's no case to kasha why it's so. Because a Jew is a special din. Every guy is leading by himself, not the Ummah. The person, every individual. So every individual is leading. So therefore, he only deserves to lose, let's say, ownership for a week. How do you do that? Right? So he loses it for a week, and then the guy gives it back to him. So now he got it back, but he lost it for a week, even though he paid for it, he owned it and everything else, but he never used. By a goy, there isn't such a thing. It's by him he has it, but he doesn't have it. That's the way the Rishon gave it. And you see that in the lexicon of kids, that's Pashut. Finders keepers, losers weepers, right? I knew that as a little kid. I also, when you go to school, possession is 9/10 of the law. So we hear that, everyone understands possession means something. If I don't have it, I don't have it. Doesn't mean I own it. Even in halacha, you get a guy, let's say, a guy stole something from him. Then neither one can be magdish them, it may change shaloi, but then it should be say. So you see, there's a concept of bias that we sons with Yeshus. The Torah tells you, Machiyuv, of Hashavas Aved is by year only, whatever it is there. And let's just point to that. You want to make a Kiddush Hashem, the people should say, oh, look how he gave it back. Okay, so we realize it's your money you're giving away. Maybe eventually we'll give you so much Olam Schaf, Olam Hazah, and Olam Haba for being Mekal Shem Shemayim. Who knows why? But it's not a mitzvah. That's the point. It's your money you spent. So you can do that. You can do whatever you want with your money. So that's a point. The other two are more, I don't really know exactly in social life what to do. So one of them is marrying an old man to a young girl, or an old lady to a young boy, where of course there's nus ultimately and stuff like that. But the question is, why would someone want to do that in my thing? It could be, they'll say someone has to take care of the kid. You know, they'll say, Yisayma, what you do with the Yisayma? We have one good way. You got taken care of your son. Well, let's marry him off to that old poor guy, that old man over there. That he'll at least someone will take care of her, or something like that. That's not a way of doing things. It has to be something good. And we'll talk about more Reuven about that. Okay. So therefore, when he says Shalom yearly, it's not because he figures he's going against the Torah. He says, I'm trying to make the Torah more palatable for everybody. I'm not making it, I'm going against the Torah. I want to make everyone should appreciate the Torah. And I feel that the chesroinus of the Torah should be fixed. And what are the chesroinus of the Torah? I mean, like Christianity, you know, the old, Old Testament God, you know, chora and af, you know, love, that's what we need. We need Yoshke. So these are the same things here. Okay, so that, but so what does it say about this person? So, but what did he do? He didn't do any bad things. wasn't terrible what he did. He wasn't Mechal Shabbos, he didn't have Elizova, he didn't eat Talfus, nothing. So it says there, Lo Yeva Hashem Sloach Loi. God won't even forgive him. He also Hashem can also be the nation's going to go after him. But we call all the Saksu Batsefa Hazeh, Moch Hashem 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 Tzachas Hashemayim, Hashem L'Roh. I mean, these are such close that you're saying over here that don't make any sense. Like, why? What did the guy do? That he wanted to be fairer. They think, okay, he's stupid. What's going on? No, it's not stupid. He's making a statement that he can be fairer than the Torah. I can be better than the Torah. There's no such thing. If the Torah says something, that is the right thing. There is no other way. They'll ask me how come by Rabbanans he made certain things, whatever. They didn't change the law of the Torah. They're just there's certain things that because of our sensitivities, I guess you would call it why Yavama requires Maima. You got to get married first. Why do you got to get married by Yavama? And all the B is the Kenyan. Almana, B is the Kenyan. And what are you making Kedushin for? Right? Because there's certain shnias involved in anything. Like the Torah didn't demand such shnias. You're right, you didn't demand such shnias. It has nothing to do with it. But we need it for ourselves. So therefore, we have to feel Zachos in a certain way. And all the anhogis that we have of tznius, because it comes to Yitzhak, it comes to Nuschas, so Mamela, there's things that we have to do to make things whatever it is, because we ruined ourselves. And therefore we need these tikkunim. If we would be able to hold the Torah Zikah Kavanas that we're supposed to have, we wouldn't have these problems, because we wouldn't have these machshavas. But now that we have these machshavas, because of the problems we have, then we have to figure out how do we stop machshavas was. That's the thing. So he says, salvation from all this, and he was metame to Zdoim HaMorah, Nitzavim, to the 4 cities that he destroyed. And the question is, why did the Banish Tzaddik? What was the big avla that Zdoim did, really? If you're looking about the evil of Zdoim, we have some nice stories about their evil. Okay, but I think Hitler was a lot worse. I mean, if you ask me, I may be wrong, but I think Hitler was a lot worse than Zdoim ever was. Yet, by Hitler, you don't find the Benishim came down and destroyed Hitler. He destroyed Hitler, but he destroyed Hitler that had the armies overwhelm him. He made whatever Nisim he had in the days of Muhammad, that they lost, whatever it is. But the mice is that it was a point that was natural. Whatever took place was naturally. By Zdoim, the Benishim came down and he destroyed the Zdoim, first by making fire and coming down from the heavens. And so it was Mamish Nisim, the whole destruction of Zdoim was supernatural, and therefore everyone realizes Zdoim was bad. Right? It's not that really, like I guess, like, you know, what's the name of that town? Vesuvius. What's the name of the town? Ptolemy? Oh no, what's the name of the town that it brought down?
Pompeii?
Pompeii. Right? Pompeii. Right, so would you say that Pompeii was an evil town? I'm sure it was. You know, the Benishim could wipe them out. But the fact that Vesuvius overflowed and wiped out Pompeii, we don't say in the Torah, oh, you see, the Benishim destroyed Pompeii. He destroyed Carceo, he destroyed what do you call it, Krakateo. And whatever it is, there was no summer in 1816, and you have the whole island disappears with how many thousands of people that were on it. There was a volcano that erupted. But Lamaisa, the Benishim killed out like from Terateva. That was Goffus from Melech Sefer Golal coming from the heavens and the things that, that was normal. So I said the difference is because Hitler, Yerach Shmoy, and people like him, everyone knew they were evil. People that evil people that joined them was because they wanted superiority, they wanted other things, whatever it is, but they all know they were doing things that were not right. Okay, so once you know it's not right, I don't have to wipe you out. Doesn't prove that you're that by last thing that you're tzaddik. That's the right way to go. Superiority of Ra in the world, and there is things that the Benishim uses the Ra to fix whatever he wants in the world. I mean, the Benishim wants to change the world for whatever reason. I can't answer the question for why, but he wants to change the world. One way of doing it is he makes a war, right? So all of a sudden you have a different world. Different countries, different things, different that. It's a different world. It's the First World War, it's a different world. Then the Second World War. And then the regularly normal wars that we had before in Europe and whatever. Or they changed boundaries and didn't make too much difference altogether. And whatever it was nothing. Or the Benishim used it. So whatever he wanted to kill 6 million Jews, he used Hitler to do it. And then he killed Hitler for killing 6 million Jews. Okay, what he did. That's what what do you call it? The Lud told Tinius Rufus, why they weren't being saved. The Benishim feels he uses heart to do his job in the world. Whatever he wants destroyed, he uses heart to destroy it. That wouldn't be a kasha. So therefore, he doesn't have to destroy it. It's the fact that it gets destroyed because the world can't take it till it gets destroyed, but it will get destroyed. No. Shdoim is something that people may think is a good thing, and therefore, since it's a good thing, he has to show it's a bad thing. For that, he had to destroy them personally and stuff like that. Now, why would you think Shdoim was a good thing? So in normal things they show, it's a, I used to tell you that in Stockholm, New York City was like Stockholm. Many Jews made good money on it. 4 million. What happened? I think I don't know if it's a law, actual law. It's where they have Firzach, but a person who loses his housing, the city supplies housing for him. In other words, he has to have a place to live. Your house burns down, you're homeless. They'll find a shelter for you, they'll find this for you, whatever it is, but they'll find a house for you. So in the 50s and 60s, they used to have what we called welfare hotels. That I think it was $100 a night for people that was for 6 people, I think. Mother, father, a family of 4 and 2 parents, I think, or maybe a total of family of 4. That I'm not sure, but I think it was 4 children, and they paid $100 at a hotel a night. What constitutes a hotel? Anything you're charging $100 a night for is a hotel. So it doesn't. So a lot of people at that time went into the welfare hotel business. And they bought a rat trap, and they turned it into a welfare hotel, and they rented it to the city. Obviously, the place was a rat trap, and had cockroaches all over it. The people that are in there, you have them trading dope in the lobby downstairs, and you have the Zionists downstairs, And this is where you're supposed to put your family. Okay? Okay. But all right, so it's up to you. You keep your, we have to help everybody, okay? So I'm stuck in this hotel. They used to give you a food allowance, though you couldn't cook in these houses, in these rooms, because it was a fire trap. I mean, it was a dump, so maybe you couldn't cook there. So you have to go out to a restaurant. Now, how do you wait for food for a restaurant? So they used to give you about 200, I think it was 261 a year, for this amount of family for a month, which is very nice, okay? So the city is paying for you $100 a night for 365 days. If you need it for years, that's $36,500, right? Dollars a night, $500, right? And you also have about another $3,000 a year for food. So it's pretty good. I mean, you're paying them $40,000 already. So, right? But the truth is, with that kind of food for 6 people, even if you ate by McDonald's 3 times a day, the dollar menu will come out that it'd be $18 a day. $18 a day, in the end of about 10 days, you'll be finished with all your money. So, the child is, how do I live weiter? I got to live another day. So you come to the welfare people, and you tell them, we need more money. And the person says, we don't understand. We paid out for you $36,500 for rent. We paid out this much for food. We even gave maybe food, clothing, and it's over $40,000 a year. And what are we supposed to do? If you would give me $35,000 cash, I'll find my own place. I will have no problem with it. At that time, you can give me, I would have my own place with food for everybody, for 6 people, living in a nice neighborhood. But you don't do that. You decided we can't do that. We have to run it ourselves, make sure that it's done fairly, this, that, whatever it is. That's why you end up with what you do. So your problem doesn't solve the problem. You're trying to put all these latches in there, but it doesn't solve the problem. That a Yidden tzedakah is a big mile. Tzedakah is lemach seichai. I have to give you whatever you're missing. So what did he point to? So what's the difference? What's done then? Chaim said that was very unfair. Nobody's going to do that. If you make such a law that people have, so the guy comes knocking on your door at 12 o'clock at night and tells you I didn't eat yet, you have to go make him supper, nobody's going to do that. You can't run a country that way. You can't run people that way. So all you have to do is give a check. That's good enough. That's the thing. So I gave you a check. So what happens with a check? That's the story with the Weeks Shiur. And they say the story don't make sense. The Gemara goes through all. I go through in Chumash. We go through all the chatoim of Shloim. Try to explain how it was ra. But what's the case of tzedakah? Used to be a person would come, they would give him a gold matbeah with their name written on it. And then nobody would sell his food to this person till he dies, and then everybody came back and collected their gold matbeah because the name was on it. So they knew who gave it to them, so the name was on it. Right? I don't know, if I was a Russia, I think I'd get a bigger kick out of yelling at this poor guy who came for his lover, that being a parasite, you're taking money from my kids. You want to thing and get around and really put my svaras in there and take that. I'll get more of a bigger kick than just to give you the luck and then take it back. That doesn't make sense. Right? So I said, Charlie didn't mean that. It means you give a check. The check is the gold coin, right? But it's July 4th weekend. Weekend means July 4th was Tuesday, like last year. I think it was Tuesday last year. Now, If it's Tuesday, I don't open up the store before Tuesday, I don't open up the store after Tuesday, because I'll take up that week vacation. Because it's a big hefsek in the middle of, like, I'm going for 2 days or 1 day. Doesn't make any sense. Then come in for 2 more days afterwards. That'll take the whole week off. Okay, fine. In hick towns, everybody takes the weekend off, the whole week off. There's no restaurants open. You can come with a check. There's no banks open to cash the check by. There's no, even if you gave you a big dollar, a big amount, but there's no restaurant that's open to sell your food. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't exist. So people will die. The idea of tzedakah is that we keep people alive. They machsoira, even though it's a tirche, but people don't die. When you try to make it better, you can't make such a big rule. You have to give a check. People will die. That's what it's saying. And once you know people die, they know it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. That's it, yeah. It's not a good thing. And that's all the laws of Shlomo like that. In other words, the Torah is made for optimum ways of this. That's the best way it can be. Okay, then it says, why did this happen? So, because why did God get angry? It says, who's going to say this? It says, the Acharon is going to say, let's see, before it should. In other words, we're wondering, why did all these sorrows happen to us? We're good people. Yidden are better people. We learned that pshat in the Haftarah of Parshas Porah. So it says you make a chil Hashem by going in Golos. These are my people who are going in Golos, and you make a chil Hashem. So I bring you back to Eretz Yisrael because you made a chil Hashem. I don't find that anywhere in the Torah like that. You made a chil Hashem. I'm going to do more averos and chutzos, so I'm going to go give you back Eretz Yisrael because it's not pshat. Yidden are in Golos. Why? Because we didn't listen to the Torah. Okay. The guy asked the question, why they're here. He said, these are because they're bad people. What are you talking about? Bad people. So these are the best people in the world. Go to any hospital you want, who the donors? Jews. Let's look up. Anything that's made, anything that's made for social things is all Jews. So why do you think they're bad people? They're good people. Why they in Golos? That's the Chil Hashem. Because as far as the Goyim are concerned, we're the best people. So why are you in Golos? It's a Chil Hashem. I got to bring you back. What's coming on? But the truth is, you didn't keep the Torah. So it comes with we ourselves are going to have the kasha or the Goyim who live with us already. The last, why did all this thing happen? Why? Because it didn't happen in one shot. A little. It got worse and worse and worse. Who can see it? The guys, the kid yeshiva bacher, the Dohacher. I went to yeshiva and they taught me Chumash. They taught me the mitzvahs, and they got nobody keeps these things. We talk about Shabbos, nobody keeps Shabbos. No one eats kosher, no one eats this. So, if you tell me so, I'm telling you, Hashem. But you don't realize it, because to you, these are the From Yidden. These are the guys, that's not a From Yid. That's the thing over there. But you don't realize it because you're just deteriorated that slowly. So it takes people who are completely devoid of these people, that just read the book, they can come along and say you didn't do what it said in the Torah. Okay. And then salvation brought all these things in. He threw them into Golos. What do you call it? Then it says, "Nislois Hashem Elokeinu, and Nigloslono b'neilu ha'lolam." Laz is called that was the union of alphas. Now, alphas, I can't say it's unfair. I could tell puts it on it, so obviously it must be fair. But the idea is that you're making me responsible for Yenim. I can't even control myself. You're making me have to control Yenim. I mean, like, how am I supposed to do that? Okay. So it tells you the problem is all the problems we have in the world. Let's see. You know, the Supreme Court knocked out abortion this year. Not that they knocked it out. It was unconstitutional, not because abortion is wrong. They just said that it belongs to the states' rights. It doesn't belong to the federal government. So the federal government can't do it. So each state has to decide by itself. Okay, that was a big fight there, you know, about it. But it has nothing to do with right or wrong, okay? But I remember when New York State was declaring about the Shiur, before it became a Shiur of the Supreme Court, about abortion. It used to come up every year, every 2 years in the Assembly or the Senate. I don't remember how they had to do it, the Senate first, whatever. It came up every couple of years, and always got defeated. And I remember reading one where a guy that was a paraplegic, who was a state assemblyman or senator, said that if abortion would have been legal when he was a kid, when his mother was pregnant with him, they would have gotten rid of him. And he says, and he doesn't think that he's not a viable person. He's a lawyer, he's making laws. He thinks that he walks around, he has crutches, he works in a wheelchair, whatever it is there, what's it got to do with my living? I'm still living, but they would have killed me. So usually lost. After a while, and this is what usually happens, that the liberals, whoever made these laws, originally started off 5 guys, right? They need 200 votes. Next one is 7 guys, 10 guys, 15 guys, 20 guys, whatever it is. They keep gaining a couple every year until they become the majority. So what happened? Why did that happen? So means ultimately everything is going to be lost. Because you just hold out long enough, you lose. Right? In time. That's not true. The Torah is mechayev you by being this thing, is that you have to be a vocal majority. The trouble is it's always a vocal minority, but a silent majority. Majority figures nothing's going to happen. I don't have to fight for it. I don't have to do anything about it. So then somewhere along the line it's going to overwhelm you. They're going to get it. But if Itaka always preached it and spoke about it, that's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong, it never will come to a thing. So really, we're guilty of things happening because the fact that we didn't talk about it, we didn't answer it, we didn't make a little of it. So therefore, the power of the minority came along. And that's the chaos that we have to fight. That's what the issue of Alvis is. Okay. Then the Gemara brings the Chumash brings out next 2 Parshas, which is a kasha a little bit. You have this year we got this by Nitzavim and Vayelach is next week. But normally it's Nitzavim and Vayelach together. And the reason why it was separate this time because you needed the extra Seder, because you have Shabbos in between Yom Kippur and Chumash Shiur, and you have a Shabbos between Sukkot and Yom Kippur, so therefore we need settlers for that. So therefore, what not been together would have been separate. Okay. So Nitzavim was what do you call it? But yet, So whenever you take whatever it is, usually you try to make every two approximately. It's not always that way because sometimes you have three that one parsha. Something, but whatever is there. But here you have it that even when the mechuber, there's a difference between the two parshas of tshuva. Tshuva is from Revi to Chamishi and Chamishi to Shishi. And they're always two separate aliyahs. It doesn't make a difference. So the question is why? I mean, the Chayri could have made it in one aliyah, whatever it was. When Shabbos we asked you, where would I have made this stop somewhere else? I mean, I can't answer you where, but whatever it is, that all these three psukim, it's not a kasha. But why should I break it up? So I said, it's because it's one Indian. Why should I break up one Indian? That's the point. So I kind of did this, there's two in Yom. And we see it the poil. Else Yisrael, Israel, whatever you want to call it. It's basically a fire country. I don't know the proportion of it. I don't know to tell you. Obviously, I don't know about now, but I remember before, the other terms of Netanyahu, the majority of the Knesset was Shemesh Shabbos. They're probably Shemesh Shabbos now, probably majority. They don't belong to the former parties. They belong to Likud, they belong to also, that's the different point. But it's still Shemesh Shabbos. They're not doing good like you, but they're doing Shemesh Shabbos. Okay. I remember Begin used to darshan to Shalosh Shul. So, so he ate Shalosh. Was he Machal Shabbos? Maybe. He was still president, prime minister. I'm sure there were things that happened to be done sometimes on Shabbos. And he did it. However they did it, I don't know. I don't know if he had a rabbi there with a guy telling him what to do or something. I can't tell you what they did. But technically, he was a guy that kept Shabbos. He didn't go in to do Machal Shabbos. He didn't drive to Shul Shabbos. He was a Shemesh Shabbos. And these people said, he definitely don't believe for the former party. So, there's a lot of people out there, the way Yarmulkes do maybe. But one has nothing to do with the other. They're not even discriminatory. We found a lot of people that were saved. I don't know how many were saved, but in the kibbutzim that were wiped out in October 7th, so some were a couple of them to keep Shabbos and stuff like that. Or afterwards they kept Shabbos. There's a lot of stories like that. So Shabbos became, they know about Shabbos. It wasn't a point. It wasn't a kasha that keeping Shabbos. Like all of a sudden, how could I do that if I didn't believe it before? Nah. Whatever, I can't understand the logic or whatever it is, but they're not asking me, but they kept Shabbos. So we want to be something more than what he called it. I remember when there was big wars against kashrus in Eretz Yisrael. There were Bezavke Chazevim, whatever it is, the kibbutzim, Bezavke. In the beginning of the war of October 7th, I remember they used to, the restaurants in Tel Aviv made food for the army. They want them to have good food, not army food. I remember there was a big tumult about it at that time. And what they had to do, because since the army serves kosher, even to the Freier, they serve kosher, so all these restaurants had to become kosher. And all the restaurants became kosher in order to be able to give money to send money to the army, to fund food to the army. For nothing, they gave it away. Exactly. So obviously, whatever pshat is, they understand that Eretz Yisrael is different. I have a Yitzhak, so I'll eat myself. That's my problem, not yours. Man. Did they bribe that way? I have no idea. I don't know if those restaurants are kosher themselves are still kosher, or they went back to being treif. I don't know. That I can't answer you. I don't know. But I know that this thing took place. So it says here, the fact that you want to do now, Eretz Yisrael, when it became a state in 1948, there wasn't even 1 million people there. And they went to war. And they went to war, what a crazy war. They opened up the gates, and they brought all the Jinn they could from the DP camps. As the guys were getting off the boat from the DP camps, they gave them a rifle and shipped them to the front, because that's the only way they had people to fight the war. And the thing goes, that's what exactly in 48 happened. Okay, so you understand that. I don't know what the machshava of the person that came to Israel was. I'm coming to a land that belongs to the Yidden, or pshat is that the Torah is doing what Gibbet Scolia says. I don't know what the machshava of the individual people were, but obviously there was a certain amount that realized we're coming to Eretz Yisrael. Right? It's Eretz Yisrael. We even call it that, Eretz Yisrael, right? So it says what happens, what happens, you come, when it comes upon you, the bracha and the kol, you have both, everything happens to you, right? So, and you come, and then you do tshuva. Me actually did tshuva. What do you know? Do you know what it means to do tshuva? I don't know what it means to do tshuva, right? But I want to be a Jew now. I want to be a Jew, I don't want to be a goy no more. I'm changing my mind from O'Reilly back to Stein. I can't sure what it was there. I'm not going to, I don't want to be a guy anymore. I want to be a Jew. What does it mean? I have no idea. But I'm coming out to Saul, I want to be a Jew. Because you see, look, in the kibbutz, the guys that moved out to soil are the Russian oligarchs, what they call them, those guys became billionaires and stuff like that in Russia and stuff, communists and stuff, they also moved out to soil. And you have Freier that moved out to soil. You have an American, some of the biggest, that used to be the Vixen and those people, they moved out to soil. The billionaires moved out to soil. Why they moved out to soil? What are you going to out to soil for? I don't have to live in California anymore. I want to be in out to soil. And whatever it is, so they came. They wanted, there's something that this is ours. Whatever it is, that pshat is, I can't answer you. So what's the Hashem going to do for you for that? You're coming whatever your concept of nafshcha is. I want to be a Yid, whatever that means. A Yid by me means even Chali Shabbos. That's all the Yid means. So that's all I want to do. So what I'll do is I'll give you more bracha than you ever had, than even your Tavisecha had. And isn't that true? I mean, Israel now is considered a rich country. Not only a rich country, it is the startup capital of the world, whatever that means. I mean, when it comes to anything on the internet type of stuff, technology, they're the technology, medicine, science, all the it's all the things, the cars that don't hit anybody, or they drive by themselves. It's all Israeli technology. It's all your car. Now you buy any Japanese car, but you buy American cars like that too. That if the guy in front of you stops, your car will stop by itself. Even if you didn't see the brake, you didn't see the car, anything, your car will stop. How? Technology. You see something, a wall in front of it, it's going to stop. It controls the fingers, the computer, it's all the things that do it. This is all Israel, right? So I gave you Geretzer Bracha. It costs more to live there now than living here. I mean, for Americans anyway. One more thing they do. Umor Hashem Elokecha es lebavcha es benecha es umor Hashem Elokecha es lebavcha es b'zarecha v'avas Hashem Elokecha b'chol lebavcha v'nafshecha v'manchayecha. That's the end of the machshava of doing tshuva. I didn't learn Torah yet. I didn't learn nothing. The second one, second parsha, is where I learned Torah. And now it says, V'nosan shemokecha, new brachas. Why? Ki sishma b'kol shemokecha, lishma mitzvoisa v'chukoisa v'kubasa. Because you learn the Torah now. So that's the second madrega. But the first madrega is just the Chotzer alone. I want to do tshuva. I want to do tshuva. The Beishim will give you bracha for wanting to do tshuva. What do you think then? Because how long are they going to do it for you? That I can't answer you. We had this here years ago. Yisrael Cohen was once a rav for about Shuva Dikiminion, like whatever, whoever they were, doesn't make a difference. And the Young Israel area. And he was so tired, knocked out, because they wouldn't let him go home when he leave. They had study sessions every night, and he's ready to go home 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and they would say, you can't go home yet, we're not ready yet. And they'd keep him there, and the Parshas came out to the Kesher. The Kesher, same thing goes in Scranton. They have the whole lot of Gerim there, the sort of South American Gerim, and they revitalized the school, and the teachers, they let the kids say, you know, you can't just go home. We're not finished learning yet. You got to keep teaching us. So whatever it is, do they know what they're doing? That I can't answer you. But they want to know. Okay, that's the first step. But now we're learning. Are we going to keep it? That gets bracha alone, and that was successful in the beginning. It fell apart, because could be the Benishim after a few years. Want to see if you mean it? I'll take away that tzloch. Let's see what happens. Do you keep it up or not? I gave you enough time to become frum, and you didn't, so then maybe you lose it. That I can't answer you. It didn't say how long it happens. But it does say that the bracha will come before refuah. That we see. And we see, we're fried, the soil and the bracha is there. There's tremendous bracha there. Right? And the only thing over there. But now when we come to Torah, so are we from? No, kasha. That's what am I going to tell you? That's a thing. Okay. Everyone have a ksivach simet teve, a good year, and health, parnosa teve, everything, nachas from the kids, everything good.
Wait, hold on one second. Shabbos, have a good year.
And Shabbos,
to you too. I can't believe it. It's just crazy what you have to go through.
I told everybody.
Yeah.
That's the new